So let's just walk through the timeline. I want to go through this timeline because the timeline matters. And actually, well, a lot of this stuff matters. And this whole thing is really, really pissing me off.
Hashtag timeline matters.
Right. I'm good at the hashtags. All right. So these are all just going to be still images. So as you know, there's the riots happening in Kenosha. We've actually seen businesses burn. Days and days of riots, businesses burning down. Like literally, there was a video. I don't know if you saw it, of like some guy holding back tears, like his 40-year-old family business was totally destroyed.
Yeah.
Just horrible stuff like that, right? I mean, horrible stuff going on. So this guy, Kyle Rittenhouse, he lives in Illinois, and from his background, you can see that he's clearly like Blue Lives Matter kind of guy, which, I don't agree with those politics, but fine. It's fine. He has politics. That's okay. And he did something which I think is kind of noble as a cause. He saw the businesses burning down and people's lives getting destroyed, and he was like, I'm going to go help defend the businesses. I'm going to go help. Now, the media is painting this as like, he was just looking for trouble, showing up with his AR-15. Well, you've been busing BLM people from city to city and Antifa from city to city for decades. So, stop whining about he's just looking for trouble. He went to help. And actually, he did help, which we'll get into. But so he gets there, and the cops know it wasn't clear what exactly group he was with, but he was with a group of people who are all there to defend businesses. And at the beginning, they're like talking to cops, and this is just an image, like, because the left doesn't like this at all. This is a cop throwing some water out to the group. Kyle's actually over here in this picture somewhere, but the rest of the group is over here, and the cop's throwing some water out at the beginning, saying like, hey, we appreciate you guys. So the cops actually say, we appreciate you guys, we really do. And then they tell them, don't be on the street, and you're civilians, and this street is only for law enforcement, whatever. So that happens. So then the guy gets interviewed by someone. That's Kyle Rittenhouse. He's getting interviewed, and the interviewer says to him, hey, what are you doing out here? Obviously, you're armed, and you're in front of this business that we saw burning last night, right? So what's up? Yeah. So Kyle says, he explains. He says, well, people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business. Part of my job is also to help people. If there's somebody hurt, and, he looks down at his gun, he goes, well, I am running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I got to protect myself, obviously. But I also have my med kit. And he shows his med kit, which you can see in this image right here. That's his med kit, right? Probably why he's wearing medical gloves. I'm not sure why he's wearing gloves, because he's not wearing a mask. So it's probably not a COVID thing. But so he's got his gloves, and that's what he explains. Okay, fine. So then, actually, he does help a rioter. A rioter gets injured, injures their foot, gets hit by a projectile. And these images are kind of hard to see, but this is the rioter who's hurt and the rioter's friends helping the person out over here. But they're walking towards Kyle, who's standing right here. I know it's very blurry. He's standing right here. It's a shame because it's behind a dumpster. You can't really see. But he's yelling out, I'm an EMT. If you're injured, come to me. And so the rioters bring their injured friend to Kyle, who helps them out. So this is what he's doing so far at this rally. Okay, or at this riot. I don't say rally. Okay, so the night progresses. Oops. I actually don't have an image of the next one, so maybe we'll back up. So the next thing happens is there's this crowd confrontation. And it's, the standard kind of thing, all the rioters getting in people's faces and screaming at them and yelling. Now, this is not the kind of thing where I hate when the narrative is like, well, there's two sides yelling at each other. Kyle and his cohorts here, they're not in other cities. They're not coming to Kenosha last week They're not wandering around with their AR-15s looking for trouble. They're here only in response to rioters. That's why they're here. The rioters are the instigators on the whole scale, right? So these guys aren't running around picking fights with rioters. They're standing in front of businesses trying to protect them, and it's the rioters who are picking fights with them, of course, because that's what they do. So during this crowd confrontation, one guy named Joseph Rosenbaum, who's obviously very angry, he's yelling at Kyle, at Kyle's group, not Kyle specifically, and he's yelling, "Shoot me, N-word, shoot me, N-word." That's what he's screaming. Now, it turns out that Rosenbaum has a background. By the way, I've verified these independently. When I say someone has a criminal background, I myself did the search for looking for the case files in the DA's office and verified the information. I'm not going off of Twitter. I'm not going off of screenshots. I looked it up. So, this guy was convicted of a Class 3 felony for child sex abuse. Rosenbaum. It matters.
Wow.
It matters. I will explain why it matters, because I'm trying to get you to understand what's going on for Kyle this evening, right? So this guy, he's a registered sex offender. We don't know what the crime was, but the Class 3 requires either it was a child 12 or under, or he used force or drugs in a rape. So, not a great character. Clearly very angry, screaming at people. Okay, that's Joseph Rosenbaum. So that's what's going on. So, the next video that we see, because obviously not everything's videoed. The next video that we see, this is a screenshot from it. And I'm going to walk you through it because I know everything's pretty blurry. It's actually better to watch the video, but even then it's not. There's a couple of different angles. It's still not great to see. This figure right here is Kyle. This figure right here is Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum has thrown this object, which is hard to tell that it's an object, but if we played the video, you'd see. This is an object that Rosenbaum throws at Kyle. What's happening right now, and a few seconds before this, you see that Rosenbaum is chasing Kyle into this parking lot. Kyle comes from this lower right here, and he'll end up behind this car going this direction, running away from Rosenbaum, who is attacking him. Now, there were reports that what he threw was a Molotov cocktail. I looked at the video. It doesn't look much like a Molotov cocktail. It does look like maybe it was a bag with a brick in it. Something was heavy in it because he threw it. It wasn't like, if you throw a plastic bag, it just kind of stops because of air friction and it doesn't have enough. Right. Doesn't have any, these too low density. But so it didn't stop. So he threw it. Maybe it had a brick or something heavy and he's throwing a bag. I don't know what he did to Kyle beforehand. And full disclaimer, I don't know if Kyle did anything to him beforehand, but based on what we've seen, we don't have evidence that Kyle did anything. But we do have evidence that this guy's pursuing Kyle. He was screaming at them beforehand. He's singled out Kyle. He's chasing Kyle into the parking lot and throwing heavy objects at him. Now, shortly after this moment here, and I've looked at a couple different angles of this. You guys can go watch the videos if you want, but there is a first shot that I hear, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm mostly sure that it's not Kyle. It could be Kyle, but he seems to be, when that shot is fired, he seems to be running away, not facing Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum appears to be unfazed and just kind of continues chasing, so it kind of seems like it's a shot from somewhere else. I'm not totally sure. Maybe Kyle mistakenly shot while he was running and shot on the ground in front of him. I don't know. But I don't know where that shot comes from. It doesn't hit anyone. Nothing happens. So there's a shot. But Rosenbaum is unfazed by this, so he doesn't think he's getting shot at, if he is getting shot at. And he's upright, and he's continuing to chase after Kyle. And he's closing in on Kyle. Now, Kyle's movements get obstructed because what you can't see in this image is there's a bunch of cars back here. It's a parking lot. So Kyle ends up kind of stuck against a bunch of cars. And he has to go in between a few cars to escape. And Rosenbaum is kind of pursuing him into the parking lot. So now at this point, I don't want to state the obvious, but when you are armed, you cannot let someone knock you unconscious. You cannot get into a fight. You need to shoot. You don't attack someone with the firearm, because They can't afford to get in a fist fight with you. This isn't like, let's have a kerfuffle and get a beer afterwards. You can't have a fist fight with someone with a firearm. They're going to shoot you, and they should shoot you because they don't know who you are. They don't know what your intentions are. You've indicated that you're violent. You're indicated that you want to bring force into the situation. Maybe you'll take your gun. Maybe they'll take your gun and go hurt other people or shoot you. You can't get into a fist fight if you have a firearm. So Kyle, probably knowing he can't get into a fist fight if he's got a firearm, about 1.5 to 2 seconds after that, the weird shot that I mentioned, you hear a volley of 4 more shots, and you see Rosenbaum go down in between 2 parked cars. He was chasing Kyle through the parking lot. In between 2 parked cars, Rosenbaum goes down. You later hear a volley of about 3 more shots. I don't think those were Kyle either, but they might have been. But based on his movements and what you're seeing around it, I'm not sure it was. I don't think it was Kyle, but it might have been. Anyway, it appears that Kyle had actually circled around, run behind a car, and he circles back, and he comes back out from behind the car, and he looks down on the ground, and he sees that Rosenbaum is down. Okay, so what does he do? You want to guess what he does, Beverly? Does he go for the headshot?
Help him out?
What?
Does he try to help him out?
Kind of. The first thing he does is he pulls out his phone. Not sure whether it was 911 or not, but he pulls out a phone and you can hear him say, "I just shot somebody."
Oh, right. Okay. I remember hearing about that.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's standing right there. He's not leaving the scene. He's not threatening, like he's let go of the gun. It's just slung over on his chest right now. So he's switched modes. He's no longer defense or anything. He is now in I'm going to help and take care of the situation mode because there's, someone's been shot. I just shot someone. So he calls and says, "I just shot somebody." And he's staying on the scene, presumably maybe to help for medical or to wait for other medical to arrive. However, he doesn't stay there for long because a crowd of the rioters start to form and turn on him to attack. And he recognizes that, oh crap, these people are going to come after me, right? So what does he do?
Yeah.
Does he start shooting them? No. He turns around and he runs away. Where does he run? Well, he runs towards the police, which we'll get into in a minute. He runs towards the cops. He doesn't run into the back alleys or get away or whatever. He runs back towards the cops. He's not threatening anyone at this point. He is not pointing his weapon at anyone. He's literally just like, I got to run away, right? I shot someone. I'm sure he thinks it was in self-defense. I agree with him. It was in self-defense, it precluding any other information that hasn't come out. And so he's running away. Now, one of the people filming this yells, "The dude running did it!" And he's pointing at Kyle. That dude shot him. That N-word just shot that dude, right? And so then you have the crowd forming. Now there's a freaking crowd coming after this guy. They're yelling, "Let's get him!" You can almost see the pitchforks and torches, right? Let's get him. They want to go attack him. So now the chase starts, right? And you've got an entire chase after this poor guy, and you hear people yelling, "Get him! Get that dude! Fuck him!" And you see someone run up from behind him and hit him in the head. He stays on his feet. He runs a little bit more. You hear them yell, "Get his ass!" Right? And then he ends up tripping and falling on the ground. And this guy, here's Kyle on the ground. This guy runs up full speed, kicks him in the face. Right? Okay. This guy, by the way, got away with it. He just left. He runs, kicks him in the face, and keeps going. This guy back here holding the skateboard, this guy's name is Anthony Huber. Anthony Huber, he runs up with his skateboard and beats Kyle over the head with his skateboard. And during the hitting of Kyle with his skateboard, he has to step over Kyle and gets tangled in Kyle, right? So he hits him with the skateboard. And then as he's pulling the skateboard away, presumably to hit him again, or who knows what he's going to do, Kyle's trying to get himself back upright, back into the fight to protect himself. As he's running away, Kyle is able to shoot him. Here's another pic. This is Kyle. This is the skateboard dude having just been shot. So the skateboard dude hits Kyle over the head with a skateboard. Kyle sits up and is able to shoot the guy once. He just shoots him once. And this guy collapses over here. This guy's name is Anthony Huber. Yeah. Now we're supposed to believe that Kyle is on a killing rampage, right? This is some horrible, he's been referred to as a mass killer, mass murderer. He sits here holding the weapon, having just been beaten, pointing at this guy who, by the way, it's hard to see, but in his left hand is a firearm. This guy is holding a pistol. Maybe it's his right hand.
Oh.
Right hand. He's holding a pistol. It's his right hand. Kyle does not shoot him at first. The guy's standing there. He hesitates. Kyle doesn't do anything. There's actually someone standing behind this guy with their hands up. Kyle doesn't shoot him. Kyle doesn't shoot anyone else. Until this guy then decides to lunge for Kyle and try and grab his gun, at which point Kyle does what? He pulls the trigger.
Shoots him.
Yes. He shoots him, hits the guy in the arm. Okay, this guy's name is Gage Grosskreutz, whatever. Now, incidentally, I want to pull this up. I forgot to do this before. Anthony Huber also has a criminal record. This is the Wisconsin court documents. Anthony Huber was a skateboard dude. Second-degree reckless and dangerous safety, use of a deadly weapon, domestic abuse, strangulation and suffocation, domestic abuse, false imprisonment, domestic abuse, use of a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse, battery, domestic abuse, use of a dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse, use of a dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct, domestic abuse. So that's the skateboard dude. There is also people claiming that this Gage guy has a criminal record as well. I looked it up. I don't really count him as having a criminal record. He does have a history, but it's all that's nonviolent. It's stupid things like loud noise complaint or not paying, or he was driving with a suspended license or stuff, or fine. So, but he is holding a pistol, and Kyle doesn't fire at him until he lunges and tries to take the weapon. So I look at this. And I look what happened to Kyle, and I say, this guy exercised a massive amount of restraint. He's got an angry mob chasing him, trying to kill him, beat him, whatever they're doing. There are other people with weapons, like that guy had a gun, Grosskreutz, or however you say his name. He had a gun. You hear other gunfire. Like, people have weapons. Kyle's not shooting them. Kyle's not doing anything. He only shot at the people who were attacking him. So anyway, when he's done with this, he shoots this guy, and in the arm, that guy runs away, screaming, probably because his arm hurts. After he does this, so he gets up, he's got the gun, he gets up, he just shot this other guy in the arm who had a gun. He turns around and he walks towards the police again. Goes back walking towards the police. You can hear other shots. I don't think... So I heard other shots. I wasn't clear if, he turned around at one point. I wasn't sure if he fired back at anyone, but there was no other injuries reported, so I don't think so, but maybe. But people were shooting. Something was going on. But anyway, he's just making his way back to the cops. That's all he's doing. And he walks back to the cops, and he walks directly to the police officers with his hands up, going back to the police. And you can hear one of the police say, hey, is there anyone injured straight ahead? Now, presumably he's saying yes. You can't really hear because the police was amplified and he wasn't. But I don't think he was detained in that video. So, but anyway, that's the story of Kyle. And that's the story of... So the people that died, the two people that died were the first guy, Joseph Rosenbaum, who I mentioned, and the second guy, the skateboard dude, Anthony Huber. They both died. And the one who didn't die was the one that had the gun.
Yeah.
Who I said didn't have a violent criminal record. The other two did. So the two that were killed did have violent records. It doesn't mean killing people is okay for violent records, but that's the situation, right? So some violent people attacking. So I just Beverly, here's where the rubber meets the road. Let's take a look at what the media is saying. Anthony Huber. Look at the nice picture of Anthony. The 26-year-old man killed in Kenosha shooting tried to protect those around him, his girlfriend says. Oh, so their source is his girlfriend. Good job, CNN. So they go on and say he was armed with nothing but a skateboard when he spotted an armed person among a crowded street in Wisconsin, but he still ran towards the danger. The armed person was running away. The armed person was running away. He spotted an armed person and ran after them to bash them over the head with a skateboard. That's what he did.
Yeah, while he was down, while he fell and was on the ground.
Right, while he was down. So his girlfriend says, he pushed me away, blah, blah, blah. They were there in Kenosha protesting, blah, blah, blah. Police named Kyle. The girlfriend says Huber launched at the armed individual to protect her and the people nearby. There was no protection necessary. He was walking away, not doing anything. There were plenty of armed people. He was on the ground, not doing anything when you hit him over the head with a skateboard. He did a heroic thing. This guy's being painted as a hero. According to a criminal complaint, Huber reached for the suspect's gun with his hand while holding the skateboard in the other. As Huber tried to grab the gun, the suspect pointed at his body and fired one round.
Right. I was going to say real quick, the heroic thing part, I like just I understand the using the word thing, but it's just like, okay, explain that heroic thing then. He went and attacked someone who was running away, who had fallen on the ground, and then you bashed in his head. So heroic of you. Right.
The whole thing's ridiculous. And he didn't bash him in the head with the skateboard. He was just running at him from the side, leaping over him to grab his gun, and his skateboard happened to bash him in the head while he was holding it. Oh, okay. Oops. I feel like Kyle's defense should be like, I didn't shoot him. I was just reaching for his skateboard to give it back to him, and a bullet came out of my gun. Oops.
Right.
All right. So that's him. How about Gage? By the way, I don't know if I have one about the first guy. I think the media is not really talking too much about the first guy, although maybe I'm wrong. Gage. What are we saying about Gage? The third protester who allegedly shot in the middle of the Black Lives Matter demonstration. Okay. Here's more on it. Who is he? He's been identified as the third person. He'll need arm surgery. He will need reconstructive surgery after taking a bullet to the bicep. He volunteered as a medic for BLM protesters in Milwaukee this summer, and his friends told us that witnesses saw him helping out the night he was shot. What happened to him? Well, the footage shows Rittenhouse holding an AR-15. At one point, shots are heard. Blah, blah, blah. Shooter seen jogging. The shooter is jogging on the street, not running away, jogging on the street before falling to the ground and shooting two people, one of them in the arm. Do you notice something that's missing from this story about the man sustaining the arm injury is Grosskreutz? Do you notice something missing here? He was holding a fucking gun.
Yeah.
He was holding a fucking gun.
Just so much context that's missing.
He was holding a gun and because holding a gun's not a crime. He was holding a gun and going after the guy on the ground. I know I'm gonna piss people off, and I know some people think this is a bad thing, Beverly, but this Kyle Rittenhouse thing is a litmus test. I don't like. I'm not a Blue Lives Matter kind of guy. I don't like a lot of the cop stuff. I think they're a police state. We've got a police state. I think they're overly militarized. I think there's a lot of credibility to the problems with police violence that people complain about. I know better than to believe the narrative that they're all white supremacists out to kill black people. But nevertheless, they are thugs. I don't like the police on a whole. I mean, there's some that are good, but they're mostly retiring. But I don't have to, my alternatives aren't, you either like the police or like thugs. I don't like thugs either. I don't understand how. There's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm on the side of hating the police, therefore I'm on the side of these thugs who attacked this dude. I'm like, no, we don't need thugs either. We don't need thugs either. And sorry, one more thing, and then I'll shut up and we can have a conversation. I know I'm going, but I've been reading my John Locke lately. I happened to be reading this just the other day. And I'm just going to read you a passage from, I don't even know what it is. This is, which essay is this? Ooh. Treatise, Second Treatise of Government, Chapter 3, Section 18. Sounds like I'm quoting the Bible. This makes it lawful, this is John Locke. This makes it lawful for a man to kill a thief who has not in the least hurt him, nor declared any design upon his life, any farther than by the use of force, so to get him in his power, as to take away his money or what he pleases from him. Because using force, where he has no right, to get me into his power, let his pretense be what it will, I have no reason to suppose that he who would take away my liberty would not, when he had me in his power, take away everything else. And therefore it is lawful for me to treat him as one who has put himself into a state of war with me, i.e., kill him if I can, for to that hazard does he justly expose himself, whoever introduces a state of war and is aggressor in it. Regardless of what you think about the BLM protests, regardless of any of this, we have no evidence that Kyle was an aggressor. All we have is evidence that he was aggressed against and put into a state of war and defended himself accordingly. And unless there's some other evidence that comes out, I'm not going to sit on the sidelines for this one and be like, well, I don't know, let's wait for all the, like, the evidence here is clear. The guy's innocent, and I think this is a litmus test. That's the end of my rant.